to another episode of our program New Kuwait. Our program will shed light on subjects related to our development plan and our futuristic vision of a new Kuwait by 2035. Today's episode we will talk about economy, and specifically we will talk about digital transformation with our special guest, information technology expert, engineer Naif العوضي. Hello and welcome, Mr. Naif.
Welcome. Thank you.
In today's episode, we will talk more about, we talked about the digital economy. Let's talk about digital transformation here in Kuwait.
Well, since those two terms are interrelated, but let me, before we go and define or introduce the digital transformation in Kuwait, let me say what is the difference between, or recap what is the difference between digitalization and digital transformation. Well, before we do anything, if we have anything physical, like for example an image or or sound or video, we need to transfer these media into a digital form. And this is what we call the digitization. All the data, all the documents that I have, I need to transfer it into a digital form so it can be stored easily and transferred easily in a computer systems.
Yes.
So this is what we call the digitization. Well, the digitalization is the use of these digital stored files in my business process. If I give an example, if I have, for example, a civil ID, I did a scan for the civil ID and make it available as a file, for example, a PDF file. This is called the digitization. To move to the digitalization process, for example, sometimes one of the platform require me, government platform require me to upload my civil ID. So I need to go and upload my civil ID to fill a form and continue a transaction, which has to be then, for example, requesting to, for example, renew the civil ID itself as part of the process. So this is what we call digitalization. Now I digitalize the business process from the traditional, and instead of going to PASI location and apply and submit a form for renewing my civil ID, no, I'm doing this in a digital level.
Very convenient for
exactly us. In a very convenient way. The digital transformation is the result of doing such a thing. Its effect on people, its effect on the business level. What are the consequences of doing that in many areas, not even in just renewing a civil ID, in many other areas and in many other transactions, which can speed up the processes, save time for the employee as well as for the customer or the user. At the same time, it can provide some level of analysis. How much the user spend doing that, how much frequent the user is coming, and so on. Having such a level, when I consider the result of digitalizing something, at the end I will end up with a digital transformation.
Yes. What are the consequences of having, I think this is because I said convenient, but everything has a bad side of it. I'm not talking about from economic place, but because, and we will talk about the crimes, the data, and the all of the crimes online. So in this process, Kuwait, because we have Sahel, we have other applications, they make our lives easier. So when we go to this age, what is the side or maybe negative place?
Well, let's talk about the positive thing first. When we introduce such applications like Sahel and Saha for Ministry of Health and others, for example, the one that's related to PASI for the ID and renewal of the IDs, all of those applications and those, the integration of those applications together deliver a very convenient service for the the customer, or we call it the user, or the citizen, or those who resident here in Kuwait, and create we call it an ecosystem at the same time.
Yes.
It creates an environment where it's
very safe, is it?
We can say if we take the precautions for cybersecurity, it will be safe, and I don't have any doubt that currently it's safe, but it depends on how the user react toward those kind of
course,
applications.
The reaction is very important, and digital transformation, it's very interesting to know about, and we will continue learning about it, but after the break, so dear viewers, stay tuned, we will be right back. Welcome back, dear viewers. We'll continue our interview with our special guest, engineer Naif العوضي. Mr. Naif, we talked about the digital transformation. Tell us about what is the strategy of digital transformation?
Well, let's say any digital transformation strategy has to start with defining the objectives of such a strategy. Why do we need to set a strategy for digital transformation?
Indeed, yes.
Let's give an example. We are trying to enhance or develop a bigger, what we call digital economy. In order to achieve that, we are setting, for example, some what we call pillars inside our strategies or our digital transformation strategy. This is part one. I need to define my objective. Moving forward, in order to achieve my objective, I need to understand the current situation of the digital level and something called DMA, Digital Maturity Assessment. During the digital maturity assessment, I will understand what is my current situation and where I'm going, and what are the things that that is needed to achieve such a journey. This is probably a very important part of the strategy, that I will have a very clear and understanding of this DMA, I mean the Digital Maturity Assessment. It will guide a lot, and it will be helpful if it is done in a very good manner and based on best practices. Next, after for example, we set the objectives, regarding the strategy and what are the digital transformation strategy that we can take into consideration in order to deliver a convenient and a robust strategy.
Yes.
One of them is to defining the objectives. And before we proceed with the digital transformation strategy, we need to define what are we looking for, what we will achieve from such a strategy. Defining such an objective, for example, we are looking for enhancing or developing the digital economy.
In Kuwait, yes.
In Kuwait, of course. This is just one of a simple objective.
Yes.
Maybe we are trying to increase our index in the United Nations regarding to the e-government, for example, the e-government level of delivering, for example, the services and electronic services.
Yes.
If we are hitting such, for example, two objectives, this is what we are trying to achieve. Then we do the DMA, the Digital Maturity Assessment. The Digital Maturity Assessment will look at what we are having now, or our status now, and what we will be in future. Of course, from the result of the DMA, we will have another stage of, for example, let the people engage, or we call them the stakeholders, who will be engaged in such a digital transformation strategy. Are they the people, or those just are the working inside the government, or, for example, the private sector or the public sector? We need to engage everyone and try to place the rules, and this is again, based on the DMA, the Digital Maturity Assessment.
Yes.
It will guide us to decide who will be engaged in such a strategy. And then after we define who will engage, we need to define how we do it. What are the technologies that we will use in order to be in a level where we can have a very solid digital transformation strategy? Of course, different technologies available in the market. When we cannot, for example, select all, but we need to define the best that can fit based on the, of course, the result of the DMA. And we also need to make sure that what is next, that we will not only having one single technology to gather, for example, or to achieve our objective in this strategy, but we should have many opportunities, at least plan A, plan B. If plan B will not work, we will go for example, plan C. If we set to, for example, gather data using plan A,
yes.
then if it fails, then how can we engage in a plan B, and so on and so forth. We should have multiple opportunities to proceed in the strategy. It shouldn't take us in a corner where we cannot move further. And the most important, and we considered it the fuel of the digital transformation strategy,
yes.
which is the data itself.
The data, of course.
Without data, we cannot really have a very strong and solid digital transformation
because
strategy.
the data, the one when the UN index, they evaluate Kuwait, they take the data sharing, is it?
Yeah, data
we
sharing
go
is,
up or down.
Data sharing is just part of it. It's not everything.
It's not everything.
Yeah, but still, data is the most important. We need to consider of something called data-driven. So our digital transformation strategy has to be data-driven. It has to be built on data, because data will guide you to do many transactions and many activities. Data will guide decision makers to
yes.
expect what will be in future. The data will create what we call warehouse or banks, banks of data, where we can sell, where we can analyze, where we take opportunities for system analysts or for other developers to build upon or maybe create opportunities of jobs.
Yes, that's very interesting. And I know the importance of data here in Kuwait and all over the world, because this is something very sensitive and very important. Thank you so much, Engineer Naif Al-Awadi.
Yeah.
That was Information Technology Specialist, Engineer Naif Al-Awadi, and that concludes our episode for today. Thank you for watching, and see you tomorrow.